Okay, this is a lesson on the price floor section of microeconomics. So we will start with a definition. A price floor is a government-imposed minimum price for which a good or service can be sold. Now, we have seen price ceilings already, so I think you should be able to draw a price floor. I want you to show you the effect on price and quantity, and pause now to do that. All right, should look something like this. This is your starting point, and then we've got a price floor here. So at this price, we can see that quantity supplied outstrips quantity demanded. That creates a surplus. We know that the price mechanism wants the market to reach equilibrium at PE, the market clearing price. That producers have an incentive to lower the price to clear that surplus. But the price it can't come down through that floor. It's like banging on the floor. It can't get through. It's not allowed to. It's a government rule, right? Now, we will look at a typical market where a price floor could be imposed. The market for low-skilled labor. In this market, workers are the producers. So they represent the supply curve, and businesses are the consumers of labor. They buy the labor, and therefore they represent the demand curve. Now, why would the government want to impose a price floor in this market? What if the equilibrium price in a free market where demand meets supply was only $5 an hour? Many would agree that that's just too low of a wage to live on in Australia. So governments want workers to be able to live, most governments, so they set a price floor above the equilibrium price. In Australia, that's about $19.84 an hour. What's the effect of this? Well, at this price, businesses only demand this much labor, Q floor. They're not going to buy any more labor. At this price floor, yes, many workers are receiving that higher wage, but then look at all the workers who don't have a job, they're unemployed, all those ones who used to have a job at the equilibrium price and now don't. Okay, what about businesses? They are the consumer. So here's their surplus in a free market, over here, consumer surplus, and here it is with the price floor. Okay, it is much smaller because they have to pay higher wages. So I want you to pause now and have a go at putting in both the original producer surplus, so that's the surplus for the workers, and the new producer surplus. Okay, let's have a look how we did. This is what I did. So there we go. We can see that there are winners from the higher wage, definitely, but also losers who miss out on a job. So overall, if we look at society as a whole, we see that there is a welfare loss in this market. Look how big the total triangle was here. Here, there's not as much consumer surplus and producer surplus combined. So this triangle here is a welfare loss to society. Okay. Now, if there is one more effect to consider here, businesses are paying higher wages, their costs go up. So pause and draw the market for fast food with a new minimum wage implemented, a new higher minimum wage implemented. Right, it should look like this, a shift left of the supply curve, and therefore a price rise from PE to P1 there. Another market where governments will impose a price floor is agricultural products. Why would they do this? What benefits are there from a price floor here? We know the biggest winners are going to be the producers. We saw that analysis before. So it must be for their benefit. Governments have at times wanted to ensure that farmers are receiving a high enough price for their produce. Now, why is that important? If farmers keep farming, it can ensure food security for a nation. It can also help in minimizing the fluctuations in price that tend to occur in agricultural industries. There is one big difference here when looking at a product market compared to when we look at the minimum wage resource market. So let's have a look here. So if we see the price floor come in, then that will incentivize producers to supply more. When we looked at the market for low-skilled labor, there was a surplus of labor. Those people just didn't get jobs. In the market for wheat, however, the law of supply creates a physical surplus of wheat. They actually grow that wheat. Farmers will make Q flour, but consumers of the wheat will only want QD. So what to do with the surplus? Lots of things. The government will buy that surplus. How much will they buy? Okay, they will buy the entire surplus. They will buy this area here, this whole rectangle. Okay. You can see that this is going to be a huge cost. Look at how much they're buying at a high price. That is costing the government a huge amount of money. What else could the government have done with all this money? There is an opportunity cost at play. Okay, once the government have bought the surplus, then what? What do they do with it? One method that has been used is what we call dumping. That's selling it overseas at a low price to try to recoup some of the costs. This seems like a good idea, a way to get at least something back for it. But then you think about how other countries will react. They won't react well. What's going to happen to their wheat industries when their countries get flooded with cheap wheat imports sold below market price, right? Dumping is essentially seen as a dick move, and trading partners will retaliate. So what they might do is raise tariffs on imports. So the country that does the dumping will have higher taxes put on their products, rendering them uncompetitive. Another form of dumping is to give it as aid to developing countries. This is good, right? Starving people, free wheat. It's got to be good. Unfortunately, it's not quite that simple. Giving aid like this has the effect of killing the local agricultural industry, as they can't compete with free. So what it does is it makes this poor country, it makes them dependent on the aid. And that's not really a solution to poverty. So it sounds like it should be helpful. It's not really. Government, after they've bought the wheat, they could store the wheat, maybe use it in the future. This, of course, is also extremely expensive and perhaps unsustainable if there are constant surpluses from year to year. Eventually, it's got to go away, right? Finally, they could destroy the surplus. Either way, whatever they do, it can be seen that there is a substantial opportunity cost for governments when they set a price floor. They must carefully consider whether the costs outweigh any benefits. Okay, that is it. Make sure you take the notes and you get a decent understanding before class. Thank you.